So it's June 19th and I'm going to start my vegetable garden update. Start of summer and Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth. Black Lives Matter. Check out all this garlic. This is actually half of the garlic that I've harvested so far. And it's a mix of, I think it's called shantung, an Asian type of garlic, and then a Nootka rose, which is the lighter colored one. So a couple types, hard neck and soft neck. So I'm excited to get these braided. I'm just letting them wilt a bit so that they'll be softer, and then I'm gonna braid it up. So we'll go over to the rest of the veggie garden. Here's my shade garden. It's still doing pretty well. Stuff is fading a bit. The bleeding hearts are fading, but the lemon balm is popping up. The daylilies are really looking good. And then I put in this oak leaf hydrangea last year and a regular, kind of basic hydrangea. Not sure if it's going to be blue or pink. They didn't know when I bought it. It was not labeled, so we'll see. And I also have this little holodiscus ocean spray, which is a native shrub tree that should get some nice pretty white cascades of flowers on it. Here's another one right here. And I actually got those from my lovely friend Nicole's mom, who pulled them from her garden on San Juan Island and gave me a couple of them. So here's the veggie garden at the start of summer. Looking pretty good. It's filling in quite a bit. It's interesting to see the difference in the soil types and how that's making the plants react. So I'll show you a few comparisons, but here's my peas and beans are really coming along, and kale, and some tomatoes are doing really well. Got some collards and lettuce and little Swiss chard in here as well. Here's a couple of vining squash. I think they're called the Hubbard. No, sorry, not Hubbard. They're some kind of mini Hubbard variety. Same kind of hard winter squash, same shape, but a mini version. But here's what's interesting. If you look at this one compared to those two, I should say, these two, which are easily twice as big, and the leaves are much bigger, greener. The vines are climbing a lot higher. They're probably about almost 4 feet tall compared to those other two that I showed you, which are barely even 1 foot. And I think the reason is because this whole area of the garden bed here, I was planting food scraps all winter. So I think this little area of the garden is super nutrient dense, and everything is just popping off because of it. You can see the difference. Look at the kale here compared to the kale in the other bed, and these are some beets as well. Everything that's in this little section here has just exploded because of all those nutrients. So I am going to be planting all of my garden compost and scraps in my garden beds this winter, not just in this one. Of course, I didn't have the other two garden beds over the winter. I built those in the spring and brought in new soil. And that new soil, it's decent, but it doesn't retain moisture as well. And I don't think it has as many nutrients as this soil, which obviously has really been enriched by all of those food scraps. So I've got some corn as well that's starting to really look quite lush. And there's the remainder of the garlic. I have to get some of that up with some zucchinis in there too. So once the garlic comes out, I think those zucchinis will get even more sun and be even happier. And there's also some little corn that I've planted from seed in here. So here's a few little guys right there from seed. Gotten some slug damage on a lot of my corn that I tried to plant from seed. These ones here that are closer to the front are actually from starts. So those have had a lot longer to get established and really get robust. But hopefully the seedlings will catch up. So here's the other bed right here. peas are doing well. Got some little peas right here. I should be able to start really picking off in the next few days. And I've got a bunch of little seedlings that I've stuck in down here. Just little combination of lettuce and radishes and little things here and there that'll hopefully grow nicely in the shade, because the shade is gonna start to become more strong as these tomatoes and squash really start to grow further. So you can see I've got another variety of squash here. I think these are called buttercups, and I'm not sure if they're gonna vine quite as much as I thought they would. I thought they would vine like the Hubbard variety, but actually you can see they're a little bushier than viney. So, you know, we'll see. They may end up putting out some vine shoots and growing up the trellis, or they may not. They may just be bush. But that's fine, because I've got these two very nice tomatoes here that are looking really good. These are a couple of varieties that a friend of mine gave me. She grew those. I think one is called a Blue Beauty, so that should be interesting. She told me that it should make kind of a bluish colored tomato. And the other one, can't remember. I know it's a green variety, so you harvest it while it's still green. Got some more collards in here that are looking pretty nice, getting big, and just interplanted with some, you know, little guys, chard and arugula, lots of arugula scattered here and there throughout all of the beds, so that I can just kind of pick it off as I want. A couple of cucumbers. Cucumbers are kind of slow to take off this year, and I had some sort of, I don't know, some sort of wilt that's really been hard to manage. You can kind of see an example of it here on these leaves. A lot of the leaves have just gotten this damage, and it's really, I think, kind of affected their growth. But now it seems like they might be starting to take off a little bit more now that we're getting out of the cool, damp season. I think that could be part of it. We'll see. And I actually just put this little bed in because I had extra soil and extra wood. And these are 3 kabocha squash, which I'm excited about. I'm just gonna let them go crazy, let them crawl across the lawn here, so you can see, you know, putting out some really nice vining stalks. So I expect these to pretty much just kind of take over and start, you know, going out all across the lawn soon. And then I have, these are all some little volunteer tomatoes that I found throughout the garden that I have transplanted just to see what happens. I think they all are Sun Gold tomatoes, because that's the only variety I planted last year, which is a nice cherry tomato type. So we'll see if they actually grow true to seed. I'm not sure if they're actually going to produce fruit or not. We'll see. And actually, here's a little garden companion. You can see this guy here is a little, he thinks he owns the place. This is I'm pretty sure a feral tomcat who's been hanging out in our yard, looking to make some sweet love to somebody. I'm gonna come for your balls soon, buddy. Watch out. So, real quick, I'll just show you how things are doing over here. This is the very overgrown back bed that's a leftover from the former owners, with these sort of pink tea roses and Shasta daisies. You can see that needs to be divided. It's all kinds of leggy and just fallen all over itself. The roses are pretty nice. This is, what do you call it, amaryllis? Yeah, amaryllis. So once the green leaves die back, it'll put up a shoot, a stalk with a flower on it that is really strong smelling and pretty, but those are all gonna come out. I'm gonna redo this bed. Not sure what I'll do with it, but not gonna do this. Here's all of my rhubarb. That's just absolutely exploding. I have taken 2 harvests now off of this rhubarb, all 3 of those plants, and they're just still going strong, doing really, really well. All of these rhubarb are just from one plant that I divided last year, and they are happy, happy. Here's the white currant. It's looking a little anemic. I feel like it wants something. Not sure what it wants. I think it might want some fertilizer. It's looking a little yellow, and not yellow, like very strong yellow, but a little anemic looking. So I'll figure out what I might need to do some research. Got some beans in the back. I also have some more corn seedlings. Here's the apricot tree, doing really nicely, looking really good. It's about 5 feet, almost 5 feet tall now. So we'll be working on that guy, keeping it to size. Here's the red currant, which is actually looking better than the white currant. Also doing really well. Here's some more garlic for me to harvest. Actually, it looks like it could probably use another few weeks. It hasn't started to wilt yet. That's when you know it's time to harvest your garlic. It starts to wilt. And then I actually threw in a few raspberries over here from our gigantic raspberry patch. So had some extras, and I went ahead and just threw them in because I thought, why not? And then just for giggles, I'll show you the plum tree that I absolutely chopped to pieces earlier in the spring, with the intention that we would just cut it down altogether because it's in a weird place. Look at it. It's still alive, coming back. I bet if we leave that another couple years, it'll be just another crazy tree again. So yeah, I don't know. I'd like to get rid of it and build I think a potting shed back here, or maybe put a compost bin. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. So that's the garden. Happy Juneteenth. Black Lives Matter.